So you're thinking about a career where you help people land their dream home in California? That's a huge deal. Well, to do that, you've got to become a licensed mortgage loan originator, or MLO. Now, I know it sounds kind of official and maybe a little intimidating, but we're going to break it all down into a simple step-by-step roadmap that you can actually follow.
First off, what even is a mortgage loan originator? Just think of an MLO as the essential guide who connects a home buyer with a lender. They are the licensed professional who's going to help you navigate the super complex world of home loans. And what does that guidance look like day to day? Well, an MLO digs into a borrower's finances, lays out all the different loan options in plain English, gathers up all the necessary paperwork, and basically steers the whole ship from the initial application all the way to the closing table. What's really cool about this role is that it's this unique mix, You have to be part financial advisor. We're talking about one of the biggest decisions of someone's life. But you also have to be part salesperson, building that trust and confidently guiding them through the entire journey. Okay, ready to jump in? Let's talk about our first major step, laying that foundation with the required training and testing. This is where you really prove you've got the knowledge to get started. And the good news? The barrier to entry here is really straightforward. You just need to be 18 or older, have a high school diploma or a GED, be legally able to work in the US, and have a clean criminal record, especially when it comes to anything related to fraud. Next up, education. You're going to have to complete 20 hours of approved pre-licensing courses. But don't worry, it's not just 20 hours of random stuff. It's actually broken down very specifically. 3 hours on federal law, 3 on ethics, 2 on non-traditional mortgages, and then you get 12 hours of electives to really round out your knowledge. After you've finished your coursework, it's time for the big test, the National Safe MLO exam. And your target? It's that beautiful number right there. You need to score a 75% or higher to pass. It's definitely challenging, but it's an absolutely achievable goal. And hey, here's a little pro tip for you. A lot of people choose to take a dedicated test prep course. Why? Because the exam is really heavy on regulations and complex rules, and a prep course can make all the difference in helping you pass on that very first try. All right, so you've passed your exam. Congratulations. Now it's time to make this whole thing official. This next phase is all about getting you registered in the system and completing all the necessary background checks. Let's get into the paperwork. The path from here is a nice, clear 3-step process. First, you'll create an account in the national system. Second, you'll submit for your background checks. And finally, you'll submit your actual license application to the state of California. Simple as that. Now, that first step is absolutely crucial. The nationwide multi-state licensing system, or NMLS, is basically the central hub for every MLO in the country. When you create your account, you get a unique NMLS ID number. Seriously, think of it like your professional fingerprint. It's going to stick with you for your entire mortgage career. As part of that NMLS process, you're going to have to authorize 2 key background checks. The first one is a standard criminal history check run by the FBI. And the second one is an authorization to pull your credit report. Now, I know seeing credit report can make people a little nervous, but really, don't panic. What's important to understand is that regulators aren't just looking for a perfect credit score. They're trying to see if there's a pattern of financial irresponsibility. After all, your job is to be a responsible steward of other people's finances. So a low score by itself won't disqualify you, but other things might raise a flag. So when you apply in California, your license is going to be overseen by one of 2 agencies, the DFPI or the DRE. Now you're probably thinking, great, which one do I choose? Well, here's the thing. You generally don't have to. It's almost always decided by your employer. If you're with an independent mortgage company, it's the DFPI. If you work under a real estate broker, it's the DRE. We're in the home stretch. You've done the training, you've passed the test, you've cleared the background checks. Now for the final stage, activating that license and officially launching your new career. This right here is the final, most critical piece of the puzzle. Your license might be approved by the state, but it just sits there, inactive, until a licensed employer, like a mortgage brokerage or a bank, officially sponsors you through the NMLS. That sponsorship is the key that flips the switch and turns your license on. So what's this all going to cost? Let's talk numbers. The core fees are pretty straightforward. You're looking at about $30 for the NMLS processing, around $300 for the California application itself, and then another $50 to $75 for fingerprints and background checks. All in all, your total startup cost is right around $400, and that's not including what you'll spend on your education and any test prep. Getting your license is a huge accomplishment, for sure, but it's not the finish line.
Let's wrap this up by looking at what it takes to actually maintain your license and a realistic timeline for this whole process. To keep your license active year after year, the requirements are pretty simple. You'll need to complete 8 hours of continuing education. You'll renew your license every year through the NMLS portal. And of course, you've got to maintain good legal and financial standing. So when you add it all up, how long does this really take? Honestly, for a motivated person, it can be surprisingly quick. You can probably expect to spend about 1 to 6 weeks on education and exam prep. After that, background checks and getting approved usually take another 2 weeks or so. All in, you could be fully licensed and ready to go in as little as 1 to 2 months. So there you have it. That's the complete roadmap, from start to finish. The steps are clear, the requirements are totally manageable, and the career itself can be incredibly rewarding. The only question left is the one you see right here. You've seen the path. Are you ready to guide others home?